start. All right. Well, thanks you guys for taking time out of your Thursday. I know how crazy it gets. It was hard for me to even pick a date to do because usually we've got Kewen's got clients coming in for her lash business and the doors closing and different stuff like that. And my husband, like, love him to death, but he's kind of loud. So I'm like, he'll come by and but so he's at hockey today. So I'm like, what night can I pick that'll be the least disruptive? So the only thing that we might have is we might have dogs barking at a time here or there, but they're kind of standing right here by me right now because they're like, why is she sitting at the kitchen counter? So, oh, here's somebody else. This is one of my team members. So I even had some of my team members want to RSVP because some of them haven't had it for very long themselves. So yeah. So who here has, now I know Kate has like you have like an Instant Pot or something like that, right, Kate?
I have an Instant Pot, but I also have the previous model
Oh,
Pampered Chef
you have the
multi-cooker.
quick cooker?
So
Okay.
we use the quick cooker more than the Instant Pot just because we like it better. So I figured I'll at least learn things that I can kind of carry over to that for now.
Yeah, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with the quick cooker at all. I actually still have one sitting over here next to my stove because I use two a lot of times. Like this weekend, for instance, we're having my daughter's birthday was just on Tuesday, and I don't know exactly what I'm going to do yet, but I might have to use two of them for like dips or something something like that. So I do like them because it is another, they are a slow cooker as well. So nothing wrong with the quick cooker. We just made it, the Deluxe multi-cooker has just got a few more functions and it's a little bit fancier. This kind of, the thing on that. So Nancy, you told me you didn't have one, right? You don't have any. And Becky, I know you have the quick cooker, right? Yep. And Stacy, that must be what you have, right? Stacy Brown. You have the quick cooker? I can't hear you. Did you can you unmute?
Are you talking to me?
No, Stacy Brown. You have the new one, right? Though, Stacy Zwettler?
Yes.
Yes, you have the new one. Are you on your phone? Click at the bottom of your screen, just like tap it and it should be at the bottom. Mute should be. If not, you can type in the chat too. I don't hear. I'm going to click ask to unmute and see if it actually gives you a prompt for it. And I'm not going to make you.
Okay.
There. So what you
Is
have
my camera on?
Yeah, we can see you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you don't have to have your camera on if you don't want to.
I don't know how to shut it off.
There's a spot next to the mute that you can stop video. But I like to see your face.
Well, I've had a rough day.
Okay. Okay. But you have the one, don't you? Because didn't you get it like 2 years ago or something?
Yeah, it's been, gosh, I think it was before COVID when I got that.
It might have even actually been like right at the peak of COVID. I almost kind of feel like you having a party then. So, but you're it's sitting in the box. You're not using it, right?
Right. Right.
Now, Becky, you're using yours a lot, right? Yep, she is. That's what I thought because I know she makes rice in it a lot, stuff like that. Kate sounds like she's using hers. Stacy I think she's at work right now, so she might have to hop in and off, but she's a consultant on my team that I know she recently got the Deluxe multi-cooker too. So, all right. So it doesn't really, whether you have the Instant Pot or you have some other brand that's out on the market. I don't know. Drew Barrymore's got so much stuff now these days too. She might even have one. I know she's got an air fryer, but there's a lot of different types of electric pressure cookers that are out in the market. Do I have anybody here that like grew up in a house that did pressure cooking, like in the pots on the stove? Becky did.
I got one as a hand-me-down from my aunt, but I'm afraid to use it. So
Yeah. My late husband, Graham, his grandma handed me one too. Like when we first got married, and I was like scared to death of it. And I honestly never had heard of it at that time, even in the world with my late husband being a professional chef. I hadn't heard of pressure cooking. It was nothing that my mom ever did. Neither of my grandmas did that. So I had no idea what it was until Grandma Smith had given me that. And she's like, oh my gosh, you can make the most, tender meats and all this stuff. But then I remember asking a few people and they're like, oh, those things are so dangerous. And, people have had them like blow up on their stove and there's stew all over their ceiling and, all that stuff. So when we had the launch that we were going to be releasing a pressure cooker, I was like, oh my gosh, like how am I ever going to like teach anybody about this? It sounds scary to me. I don't understand it. It was like, I was kind of like, well, my rock crock and my slow cooker stand can do just about anything because I can put that on the stovetop. I can put it in the microwave. I can put it in the oven. I can, all these things. And then I've got the slow cooker stand. So why would I, I don't even understand why I would need that. Well, boy, did I not even understand the concept of pressure cooking whatsoever. So, so pressure cooking is basically all it is steam. I mean, you're cooking with steam, but it's a sealed pot and it's got, the steam, you have to have some kind of a liquid within it. So I'm going to just quickly tonight, just to do something quick and it doesn't have to take super long or anything. I'm just going to do some hard-boiled eggs is what I'm going to do. So that'll come to pressure really quick and just show you how quick and easy you can do that and not be, I mean, God knows how many times I've, undercooked them on the stovetop and stuff like that. And I don't have to worry about that anymore because I have a setting for eggs on my pressure cooker and boom, they're done. So that would be like, that was what I thought the quickest thing I could show for you guys tonight on it. But it gets lots of steam inside. It has to have at least 1 cup of some kind of a liquid. So like broth or water, something like that. It has to have at least 1 cup. We even have a chicken recipe that you just use a cup of salsa in it. So that's like your liquid and it'll make the pressure from that. But that high pressure like speeds up the cooking process because it's like, it like infuses it so much and it like goes beyond boiling point basically. And you can hear it like sputtering in there and everything. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's crazy what it does. But there's a valve on the top of it that controls the pressure. And some of you guys know that you've got yours and they've got the little pressure valve. I'll show you that in a few minutes. And like Kate with your Instant Pot, it probably looks a little bit different than your quick cookers does. But that high pressure steam, has 2 like major effects. It raises the boiling point of water in the pot. So boiling, is only limited to 212 degrees, but the steam's pressure can get as high as like 250 degrees. So believe me, it's hot when the stuff comes out. Like there's never going to be a time like your pressure cooker is going to be broken if it's not like super hot when you're when you take the lid off. But that high heat helps cook the food, it cooks it a lot faster. Okay. That's why you can have frozen chicken breast in there, a cup of salsa, and maybe squeeze a lime and put a jalapeno in it and an onion and put it on the chicken setting, which will cook it in like 15 minutes. And from frozen, it'll be completely cooked and ready to eat. It's amazing because it just gets such a high intense heat. The second thing about pressure cooking is it raises the pressure and it forces liquid into the food. So that high pressure, also allows for your food to come out very moist because of that too. So you're definitely not going to be having dry things or anything like that. It's pretty amazing. And then, like I said, it's a faster process. I love, one of our favorite things to do in here is we have like, the kids have beef stroganoff that we like a lot. And then I'm gonna mute you again, Stace. And we have a beef stroganoff recipe, and then we also have, there's a couple of them, that one of them is that one that comes like in the pressure cooker guide that you get with the deluxe multi cooker. I believe it was in the quick cooker guide as well, but it's called chicken parmesan pasta. That one is a family favorite too. And I know that I can have dinner on the table in like 25 to 30 minutes, depending on if I'm making a single batch or a double batch. So it's just amazing, and everything. I mean, the pasta, I'm putting an entire 1 pound box of pasta in the pressure cooker. And 15 minutes later, it's cooked and like the most perfect pasta ever. It's incredible. So, but I mean, I'd have to be juggling, getting my pasta water boiling, throwing my pasta in the dish, getting my chicken ready to go and searing that up, and then putting the sauce. I mean, it's just like unbelievable how like I'm like dump, 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 put the lid on, go. I've got pasta in 20 to 30 minutes. It's incredible. The extra high heat of the pressure cooker, it also promotes things like caramelization and like browning. So even just simply like the sear setting, it's amazing what you can do on that, because it's almost like you're cooking like on a burner on the stovetop. And then things like, it's just the flavors are so, I want to say like, I always say like the flavor gets just so infused in it. It's like they're way more like complex. You know what I mean? Do you know how like when you make soup, it always kind of tastes better the second day, or chili or something like that? That's the one thing that I've noticed about this, is that it tastes like that, like it's on its second day already, because of that pressure. And it infuses everything into the beans, into, it's just amazing that way. So that's a little bit different than like if you're just like steaming foods. That pressure does it has a different job. So what kinds of things can you cook in a pressure cooker? What kinds of things, Kate, do you cook in yours? Are you adventurous?
We are fairly simple. We use it as a glorified rice cooker primarily, where that's our go-to. It just makes
It
real rice easy
does.
peasy. I mean, I've never not used a rice cooker or like a rice setting on something like a pressure cooker. So I just feel comfortable, and I know it's going to come out right and not turn into mush. The handful of times I've tried it on a stove, it doesn't turn out right.
Right.
My brother always loved his Instant Pot and kind of got me turned into using it more often as kind of a cooking piece. And he has a website that he really likes of a guy that has wonderful recipes. So I'm happy to share that if that's
Yes,
something
I would love
okay to
that,
do.
Kate. I can share that, and then I can share it with
Sure.
everybody. Yeah, that would be
So
wonderful.
there's a website, and he's kind of a food blogger kind of guy with his own recipes called Pressure Luck, like pressure cooker, Pressure
Oh,
Luck.
that's like Pressure Luck, like a game show. That's
Yes.
cute. That's
And
cute.
he just has a lot of like step, you can follow it basically at any stage of, how comfortable you are cooking.
Uh-huh.
So he has a French onion chicken that is really good, and you kind of use the sear function first, and then you end up getting everything into pressure mode. And you basically cook some garlic toast, and you have, yummy oniony chicken with cheese. That's just a good fun meal.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful to branch into things more, and I was
Yeah.
hopeful to kind of pick up on some things you recommend too.
Yeah. And I will definitely say, with any pressure cooker that you get, regardless if it's ours or not, there's probably, I know like Instant Pot has like their own like Facebook groups and community groups, out there. But I always say like with ours, it comes with a booklet like this. I mean, it's not like a skimpy booklet. It's, pretty thick of recipe, or there's 35 pages in here, 39 pages. So it's not like, it gives you a ton of recipes, color pictures, lots of nice instructions, but you've got this guide in the front, and it does actually tell you like getting started, it tells you like, try this first, you know, and that the chicken Parmesan pasta that I was talking about is one of those recipes. I know if you have the quick cooker guide, that one, the chicken, the salsa chicken that I was talking about earlier with the salsa in it, that one was one of the go-to ones to give a try, you know, first. Hard-boiled eggs was one, and they even had, because this pressure cooker has a sous vide setting, so, that one was like something to start simple with the sous vide. So does everybody here know what sous vide is? No? A lot of people don't. It's kind of a new thing. It's a definitely something that was more of a restaurant technique of cooking. Sous vide is, it involves like vacuum sealing food. So you're cooking either like in a plastic bag, or like we have our reusable silicone storage bags. So you can cook right in those in the sous vide setting. But it's cooking it precisely, basically in a regulated like water bath is what it is. It's low temperature. But the one thing that's kind of the downfall to it, and I will say, I have not done it yet because I have 4 kids. Half the time there's a boyfriend and a girlfriend here too. So I'm cooking for 8, and I need fast and easy. I don't want slow, but I have to give it a try sometime because a couple of the girls on my team that have done like steaks that way, they're like, oh my gosh, I will never not do them that way again. And I personally have stopped. I mean, I still will grill steaks on the grill, but I've been in love with doing steaks in my air fryer now. So it's kind of funny. But sous vide, so it's a lot of them just have like kind of it's like a bowl or a pan that they use with the water, and they insert the sous vide. It's usually kind of looks like almost like the size of like what an immersion blender would look like. And that goes into the water and gets the water to the perfect temperature. And then, so it'll cook for like hours at a very low temperature. But what happens is for instance, like steak, you can say, I want to cook this steak to medium rare at, you know, I don't know exactly, but probably like 140 degrees or something. It will stop it from cooking right at that 140 degrees. The only way you make steaks is in the air fryer. I know they're so good in the air fryers, but I definitely have to try. Becky said the only way she makes steak, it's like 16 minutes of steak in the air fryer is it's incredible. But this way you can stop it. And so it's at the perfect exact part that you want it at. And you literally could just put it in the fridge and it would stay there. And then when you're ready to eat it, you can take it out and sear it up in a pan to get it warmed up again, and it's ready to go. So that is how, like, Wolfgang Puck, for instance, the big celebrity chef, he's known for sous vide cooking. How do you think those big chop houses can get, a table of 20? I want medium rare filet mignons, and they can bring them out to the table in 20 minutes because they had them all sous vide in the back, and they just had to put them and sear them off really quick. And that's how they come out perfectly like that. So that's how it's like a chef secret, tool. So that was one of the big changes that was done from the quick cooker to the Deluxe multi cooker, is they made it with the sous vide capability. Instead of us trying to bring out, a separate product, we try to be as multifunctional as we can with our products. And a lot of times that's the reason why Pampered Chef will, like even our stand mixer that we have now, KitchenAid has had a stand mixer for how many years, and Pampered Chef is just coming out with them. Well, we like to see what people like, what they don't like, kind of like the air fryer too. What are people liking? What don't they like? And what can we do to make this the best product out there? So sometimes it might seem like we're late to the game on something, but we are actually trying to be as strategic as possible and as multifunctional as possible. So this pressure cooker that's out now has 16 different functions. Before I kind of keep going on, does anybody have any question about what sous vide is? Just let me know if you do. You can put it in, I'll try to see the chat. It's hard for me to read the chat when I'm like talking and blabbing. So, but 16 presets. So, the custom setting is, this is the 6-quart stainless steel pot that fits inside of it. One thing that's nice about that too, is they sell those as replacement parts. So if you want to have a second one, if you find that you're using your multi-cooker a lot, it's kind of nice to have more than one stainless steel pot because one might be in the dishwasher or something. So that's something you can buy as like an accessory or a replacement part. The custom setting is right. It's the first one. That one, if you are following, like I said, like start with, okay, you guys, I have no idea why my computer screen has been doing this lately. Like I can lift up my finger and do a thumbs up and it'll do like a thumb. So I don't know if we'll get fireworks. One time we've gotten balloons. I have no idea how it's doing it, but I don't know. So sorry. It is kind of funny. So you guys can laugh about it. But the custom setting, like I was saying, start with our recipes just till you kind of get familiar with it. Then start venturing out and looking up recipes for pressure cookers on Pinterest and stuff like that. We call it the custom setting, but most recipes that are kind of just blanket, pressure cooker recipes, they're going to say high pressure. Our custom setting does have 7 different levels, but 7 is the one that's high pressure. So I've honestly never adjusted. If I use the custom setting, I want it on the highest level. So if your recipe calls for high pressure, just put it on the custom setting. That's what that's going to be for. So that one, you can adjust the pressure up to 30 minutes. Then there's the egg setting, which is 12 minutes. The poultry setting, the automatic default time is 15. You can adjust times too. But that's the automatic default. They kind of take into consideration like the basics of everything. So most chicken recipes should be able to be done in 15 minutes. And even if you double a recipe, it kind of doesn't matter. Same thing like what I was saying when it's frozen, it doesn't matter because it's going to be cooking with that high pressure. So it's a different type of cooking. It's not like it's in the oven and now you have more, so there's more in the pan. The pressure does its job regardless of what's in there. So you don't really have to add time or anything like that if you're doubling a recipe. It's kind of weird and it's kind of like tricky to the mind a little bit. The beef and pork setting automatically goes to 35 minutes. Seafood is 3 minutes. So like we did, a couple of times they had like lobster tails that were on like the quick sell, and so it was like, I can come home and do those quick. It's crazy how fast like that stuff. I mean, I know that stuff doesn't cook that long anyway when you steam it, but 3 minutes, you can have a lobster tail done. White rice and whole grains, there's 2 different settings for that. So white rice is white rice. Whole grains is going to be things like brown rice, because that cooks a little bit different than white rice. It's going to be things like couscous and quinoa, any of those. There's like the ancient grains. There's lots of, different grains out there. So that's, you would use the whole grain setting for that. The soup setting, I use the soup setting all the time because I constantly make soup in this thing. Beans, you will get amazingly cooked beans in here. You can do them from dry, or you can already have them you don't have to do like all the soaking and all of that stuff when you're cooking in a pressure cooker. I guess that's what I should say. So you can obviously throw a can of black beans in here and that's going to be different anyway, because those are pre-cooked, but you don't have to be dealing with like the soaking of overnight and stuff like that when you use a pressure cooker for the bean setting. There's a dessert setting because we do have things like a couple of the accessories that we have are, here's the springform pan and here's the little fluted pan. So you can make a cake in like 20 minutes in here. Cheesecake, super fast in there. There's a steam setting to just do steaming of things if you just want to steam some vegetables or something quick. Then there's the sterilized setting. So like Kate, for instance, has a pretty brand new baby. So You know, if you want to sterilize nipples and different things from bottles and pacifiers and stuff like that, you can put it on there and it's a sterilizer for you too. And it's one less appliance, you know, sitting on your counter. My brother and sister-in-law adopted a baby this summer. And so there I laugh, you know, because my brother's 47 and my sister-in-law's 42, and this is their first baby. So it's like they're you know, they've had like no toys around, so we're laughing because now like the big pack and play things in the living room and all that stuff, and it's like you don't want like one more thing on your counter. So I love that you know, this is one thing that's you know, one more added function to it. The sear setting, which is great because like that's how I'll brown my hamburger first, or I'll brown up my chicken before I do pasta dishes. Then there's the slow cook setting. And the nice thing about this one is we had slow cook on the quick cooker. So you guys can use the slow cook function on that as well, for those of you that have the quick cooker. But this one, you can actually do like the low and the high on it, where the other one, it was more like, this is the function you're getting and that was it. So they kind of adjusted that one a little bit better. So low is for 8 hours, high is for 4 hours on here. Then of course, like we talked about, there's the sous vide setting. And there is a yogurt setting. And on the yogurt setting too, you can also use that as a proofer. Like if you want to have dough to rise for like a pizza crust or just bread you're baking, that can function as that proofer too. So on the quick cooker, there was a proof setting. And on the quick cooker, I think they just chose to use yogurt. That was more probably a marketing, you know, tactic for them to put that as yogurt on this one. Because on the proof setting on your quick cooker, you can make yogurt on it. But I think a lot of people saw proof and they were like, well, I don't even know what that means or what it does, or I don't make bread, you know. So I think they saw that they needed to change it to be, I don't know why they didn't do yogurt/proof, but you can proof bread on the yogurt setting, and on the quick cooker, you can make yogurt on the proof setting. Okay. So does anybody have any questions about the different settings at all? You can just come off mute if you want. Okay. In order to select a setting, it flashes at you. Can you see how that's flashing up there? And then you just turn the dial. All of our electric products basically work on this dial system. The only one that doesn't really have a dial is the Flex Plus, which is the one that turns into a food processor, an immersion blender, and a hand mixer. That one doesn't have a dial. It's just got a button that you press for the different things. But the Deluxe Electric Grill and Griddle, the Deluxe Cooking Blender, they all have the dials, and the multi-cooker, of course. So I'm going to put it on egg because that's what we're going to be using in a minute here. Okay. All right. So you have a display of, like I said, this one is going to go automatically for 12 minutes. And I know 12 minutes is perfect for eggs, so then I'm just going to leave it on that. Some people too, you know, like you start looking for recipes and stuff. And a lot of people for eggs, for hard-boiled eggs, will do the 5-5-5 method. So they do 5 minutes at high pressure. They do 5 minutes of a natural release, and then they do 5 minutes in a steam, or an ice bath, a steam bath. It's getting a steam bath. What am I talking about? Has anybody ever heard of the term natural release? Because some of the recipes will say that. So you can quick release and just push the button like as soon as it's done and release all the pressure. Or some things they will tell you, do natural release for 10 minutes. And it can really change the texture of how like it finishes. It's kind of like when you take something out of the oven, like a turkey, and they tell you to let it rest, you know, for 10 minutes before you start carving it. It's kind of like the same thing here. So if it says natural release, don't touch it until after your till the time's up that they tell you to leave it at natural release for, so 10 minutes or something. Then you can hit the release button. And the other thing is that if, say you had to run up to the store and your timer went off, it's going to automatically start naturally releasing. So it's not going to be sitting on your counter at full pressure, like with you not home. It'll automatically start naturally releasing. So say it took you 20 minutes and it's been sitting here, you might push the pressure release button and it might not even, it might just go psh and be done because it might have already released a lot of the steam. It kind of just depends on how much food's in your pot or what you're making. Like I do a lot of soups in here. And I can push the pressure release button and sometimes it takes 5 minutes for all the pressure to release out of the pot. That's how much pressure had built up because I've got it filled, you know, to the brim. So natural, that's what natural release means. It just means don't release it right away. Just kind of let the pot do its thing. So another thing that's important for you to know is this comes with it. And it's the silicone ring, and that ring needs to go inside your lid. This is how the pressure stays in your pot. You've got to have this ring in here, and it's got to be put in here correctly. If it's not in here correctly, you're probably going to see steam kind of starting to escape out the side, or you might have a bunch of condensation on the side. And what you're just going to do then, if that happens, you just stop it, open your lid, reposition this because you probably just don't have it. So this is what I do normally. Here, I'll show you guys. I lay it on here and see how there's this ring here. You just kind of lay it and I just kind of go like this and just make sure it's all the way in and just kind of tug and make sure it's in there the right way. So you see what I mean? So that's how that works. So that's usually if something's not seeming correct or like looks weird or steam's coming out of it or something, that's probably what's wrong, is the silicone thing is not on there right. The other thing is this thing needs to be washed. So take it out after each use, throw it in the dishwasher, throw it in the sink. The other thing that happens is if, say, you use it more than once, which, I mean, I've done that a couple of times. It's not like it's going to hurt it or anything. It's just not going to be as, it's not going to be as tight because it kind of, once it gets hot, the silicone might stretch a little. So putting it through the dishwasher or putting it in the sink might help kind of shrink it back down to the right size again. There's some people too have even thrown it in the freezer to kind of shrink it. So just make sure, you know, just trying to get yourself in the habit. There is one thing that's nice is in our replacement parts is you can buy a couple of extra rings for it. And they're actually different colored because some people they feel like sometimes the silicone can take on an odor. So they will use one for savory dishes, one for desserts, and one, you know, like they'll have like their ones dedicated. I've never really found it to be an issue, so I don't worry about it that way. I have a couple extra, but I don't worry about if I'm making soup in it or if I'm making a big pot of oatmeal in it. You know what I mean? So I don't worry about it that way. So that is a big plus. This is your top of your lid. This is your steam release valve. It, you know, just kind of comes like that. It kind of, they made it so it comes out easily because it kind of like, you'll kind of see it like kind of making a shaky, you know, when it's building pressure. And then this red button here, I don't know if you can see the button part, the red button there, that's the pressure indicator button that when you know the machine is at full pressure, that button will pop up. And then you can no longer, the lid is locked then. You cannot get the lid off. So if you have little ones at home, you don't have to worry safety-wise. That's another thing is they made it a plastic outing that stays cool to the touch. So if you have littles, you know, they're not going to put their hand in, is going to get burned. The handles are actually also on the side. You can lift it with the handles this way. Some of the ones that are on the market, I know Instant Pot, I've seen them. They have a handle built right into the lid. So you just kind of turn it and lift it that way. My thought always safety wise was that if you can hear the dogs, I'm sorry, they're just like, they've got the zoomies right now. They're running through the kitchen and the living room. that to me, I would feel like I could like go to like, if I'm going to go put it back in my cabinet to store it, if I lifted it up by the handle, I would be so afraid that the lid would turn and then your pot would go on the ground and break or something. So safety wise, I like it that the handle is on the sides to lift and move. It also has a cord wrap in the back, and the appliances do have a short cord. Short cord on electric appliances is it's probably I'm sure it's like a safety law or something. I can't think of what they're called, but like the electric ISO or something like that. They don't want it too long because they don't want it to be like tipped or something like that. So if it was pushed or something, then the cord would automatically come unhooked. The nice thing about this pressure one is that the new Deluxe multi-cooker has an on-off switch, so I can just push it off. You guys can see. Where the old one, if you had it plugged in on your counter, it would just flash and flash. Our air fryer just flashes and flashes. So you're really supposed to, with a small appliance, you're supposed to unplug it in between each use. So that was what they originally did. But then customer surveys came in and they just said, we want to be able to turn it off. So moving forward, all of our appliances have a on-off switch. So if they ever do a restyle to the air fryer, I'm sure it'll have an on and off switch. Okay. So let me see here. I think I'm going to go ahead and do the eggs so you can see that. So this is all I'm going to do is I'm going to put my ceramic pot in here. You guys might be able to see how there's the lines. You can see the lines. So you never want to fill past the max line. And what was I going to say? But yeah, just be careful with that. Don't get it too full that way. I will tell you though, soups, it does take a long time for it to come to pressure. But the nice thing about this one is you'll see when I turn it on, I'm going to put a cup of water in here. I already have it measured out. And then I'm going to grab my steamer basket. So the steamer baskets, you can buy these as an accessory. So there's a little tiny one, like this would have been perfect for like a lobster tail, but this one is great. So I like to do my eggs in this steamer basket. So I'm going to grab some eggs out here. I do eggs a lot because my husband takes a salad in his lunch almost every day, and I always put hard-boiled eggs on his salad. So I'm just going to make, let me see, Monday, Friday, Monday. I'm just going to make enough just through Tuesday for now. I don't like to get too far ahead of myself in case he decides he doesn't want to take that day, and I might not be in the mood for hard-boiled eggs, but I make egg salad a lot too. So I've got my water in there already, so I can just set my steamer basket right in there, and it's obviously designed to fit inside. Now, a lot of people will ask me, can I use this in an Instapot? You can, except that it could, can I use Instapot things in the Deluxe multi-cooker or the quick cooker? You can, but it could void the warranty. Honestly, I mean, unless you flat out tell them that, I don't know how they would know. You know what I mean? But I mean, most of the things will work in here. Okay. So I'm just going to put the lid on, and I'm kind of sideways already. So you usually start it on an angle, and then it kind of just turns, and it likes to talk to us. We kind of call our appliances all kind of sing and talk. And this one we call R2D2. The blender we call C3PO, and the air fryer is Darth Vader. Just like the way that they're shaped, that's what they create and remind about. It's kind of, and they're like little droids because they make all these little noises. So I'm going to go back down to the egg setting here. Egg, so it's on 12 minutes, and then I'm just going to push and hold the button in, and it's going to go. So then it's going to say run, and it tells me it's working on coming to pressure. This little dial here. I don't know if you guys can see that okay. But then down here, see how there's this little circle? This is the one thing that the quick cooker doesn't have. Because you're always like, is it working? That's what I felt like with the quick cooker. I don't know. Is it working? When's it going to come to pressure? Like it was this like stressful thing. Like, is your meal actually working? And so at least with this little preheat mode, you can tell how much time it has left to release the pressure. Okay. Or I'm sorry, not to release the pressure, that it's coming to pressure. So shortly before that circle completely fills or shortly after it, you will notice the pressure indicator button will pop up and then it will start automatically counting down for you for whatever time that it was set for. Once it's done, then you can either, depending on what you're making, you're going to either release the steam or you're going to do a natural release based on, that's really hard to say, natural release based on what the recipe is, okay? So we're just gonna let that run and I can already hear it starting to warm up because there's only a cup of water in there. So it doesn't take that long. But for eggs, the steamer basket, like to me, is the best. You can play kind of like a little bit of Russian roulette. A lot of people will just set, this comes with the multi-cooker. You just set this little 3-tiered stand in the bottom and just kind of set your eggs on here. So some people just do that, but I have the steamer basket, so I think that's easier to take them in and out. Okay. Obviously it's going to be hot when it comes out. So make sure when you pull the handle out that you've got like a little oven mitt. I like our, either our little air fryer, oven mitts or, these are the air fryer mini oven mitts. These are great for the air fryer tray. And these are the little microwave grippers. So depending on what it is, I'll use one of these to take things out. So yep, it's already running. Well, yeah, and it's actually almost like a 3/4 or a quarter of the way already up building up pressure. So, so then I'll show you when that's done, we'll release it and so you can see it done. Okay. So let me see what else I have on here. Sous vide. Why don't we go to what kinds of questions do you guys have? Go ahead and unmute yourselves and we can kind of have a little bit of a discussion. What kinds of things scare you, concern you? You know, ask me things that, you know, will this recipe or will this kind of a food work in it? Just pick my brain, okay? Laura's on here now too. Laura's a consultant in my organization. Laura, do you have one yet? She's like, I can't unmute.
Hi, yes, I do have one.
Do you have ours?
Yes,
Okay, you do. Have you been experimenting with it?
yes. And so that's why I was really super glad that you were doing this just to get more like tips and tricks on it.
Sure. Did you just get it? Well, I guess you've only been a consultant for a couple of months, so.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What have you made in it so far?
So what did we do? Oh, we did ribs.
Oh my
That
God,
was
guys.
awesome.
I don't make
Yeah.
ribs a lot anymore because my husband actually doesn't like ribs. So that's one of those ones I have to make on a night when he's not here.
Sure.
Because my kids love ribs. My late husband, a lot of you guys know that Graham was a professional chef. He could make some ribs. I'm telling you, he could. He could make some ribs. And, you know, we still like to have ribs. And so I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how long to leave them on the grill for. I don't know. Lifesaver. You roll your rack of ribs and just kind of line it up upside or like top side, you know, and just kind of put it in a little curl inside that pot. And honestly, I add a can of Dr. Pepper. That's what I do. And I put it on the beef setting or the pork setting, whatever. What does it say on this one? I think there was a beef and pork setting on the other one. What does it say on this one? This one says, yeah, it does say beef and pork. That's what I thought. I didn't think they separated them. Put it on that. And it's like, gosh, Laura, can you even think? It's not very long. It's preset for 35 minutes. So 35
Yep.
minutes after it comes to pressure, which same kind of thing, doesn't take long to come to pressure because you're just putting a can of soda in it. So that's like 12 ounces.
Yep.
So, and look at, this is almost, if you can see the dial, it's almost full. So it's almost at full pressure. So that's about how fast the ribs are going to come to pressure too. And then it'll just cook for 35 minutes, take them out, and then you can baste them with a sauce if you want, put them under the broiler, or you can take them out on your grill. Boom, you can have dinner in probably like 45 minutes with ribs, where when Graham would make them, don't get me wrong, they were amazing, but it would be like a 2-hour process because he'd cook them on low on the grill. And, you know, sometimes he'd do them in the oven if it was winter or something, we didn't want to take the grill out, stuff like that. But it was always a longer process. So I'm always kind of impressed on how quick I can have ribs done. So I haven't done that one lately though. So I might have, that's another one I have to wait for a night that Daryl's gone. And then I have certain things. My older stepson Diego doesn't like certain things, you know, so like I have to like play with my recipes on who's going to be here that night, what I can cook. So anything else, Laura, that you've made so far?
Nope, that's the only one I've tried so far. So,
Okay.
but it was truly it was a game changer. Like we
Yeah.
got home hockey and we just threw it in, you know, it was
Yeah.
super quick and super easy.
Did you do it with soda too?
No, we did beef broth.
Oh, yeah. Beef broth. You could even do like, if it's pork, like, you know what else would be really good is putting like a cup of apple cider in there. And
Oh
getting
yeah.
some flavor infused into it. You could even put a beer in there to get that kind of a flavor. So, I mean, yeah, you can as long as it's a liquid, you can put, as long as you have a cup of liquid in there, you can put
Root
that.
beer.
Oh, root
I
beer.
did mine with root beer.
Yep. Stacy, that's what you did. Yeah, root beer or Dr. Pepper are the two that I've tried. And it doesn't really matter if it's like diet root beer or zero sugar root beer. It doesn't, you know, like you can do that too. So now it's at pressure and the red button came up. It's almost any second here. It should start doing the countdown. Okay. Stacy, what else have you made in yours?
I did chicken soup the other night, and then I do the hard-boiled eggs all the time.
Okay. Yeah. If you are a meal prepper,
No.
Okay. I was just saying, if you're a meal prepper, like you can throw a whole package of, you know, boneless, skinless chicken breasts in there. I love our salad choppers. I can take my salad choppers right down inside of the pot, shred them all up. See, look at it now. I must have went like that and it gave me a thumbs up. So weird. That thing done and easy, and you have all this shredded chicken, you know, you can portion it up and put it in Ziploc bags and freeze some of it, or some of it can be portioned out, make some rice in it next, and you have little chicken, you know, chicken burrito bowls for the week for your lunches and stuff. So like in the food prep market, this thing is a game changer that way too. I have a really good recipe for cilantro lime rice in here. Super fast and simple, and it comes out, the rice just comes out perfect every time. There was one that we found recently too. I was getting my nails done and my nail tech had just put in Swedish meatballs and it just smelled so good in her house. I'm like, oh, I'm going to make that. And I'm like, I bet you I could make those in the pressure cooker. So I found a recipe online and now that's one we make a lot and I just serve them over mashed potatoes. I've got a clam chowder recipe that another consultant created. That one is delicious. I haven't tried it yet. We were going to try it for Christmas and just prime rib was so expensive, but you can do prime rib in there too. Like there's just, I mean, it's just crazy the different things that, you know, you don't always think of. And what else? Let me think here.
Have you ever used the ceramic pot?
Yes. So in the quick cooker guide, there is a teriyaki chicken recipe that you would make, you know, you make like a sauce and stuff for the teriyaki part of it. And then you put your whatever, you know, chicken you're using in it. And then, so you'd put the chicken in the bottom, then you would put this little, my gosh, what's it called? Three-tiered stand or, three-legged stand. And then this is the ceramic pot. It comes with, this little caddy, but then you would set the pot then on the little stand. So then the chicken's underneath that. And there's a silicone cover too that you put over this pot. And then your rice and stuff or vegetables or whatever, that stuff will just cook on top of what you're already cooking in there. So it's pretty, you know, cool how you can just stack things in there too. Okay, so it's going. Did you see how it came to the number? Now it's on 11. So now it goes down. The other thing I forgot to tell you earlier is then once it's done, it will go on most settings, not all settings, like the sear setting, the egg setting. Oh, and there's one more. It might be the yogurt setting that it doesn't go into the keep warm. Otherwise, the other functions will go into a keep warm mode and it'll stay in keep warm mode for up to 4 hours. So Stacy Zwettler had asked me a question earlier about how do you get it back on the slow or on the keep warm setting. She was pressing the X. You don't have to press the X though, Stacy. You can just hit release.
Okay.
You don't have to stop the function that you had. You just hit steam release, and then that way it'll stay in the keep warm mode. So that keep warm mode is nice. You know, it's nice too. So that's where I was saying too, like if you're running up to the store quick, or you had set this and then left the house for a while, it's not like you've got a pot sitting on your counter that's got 250 degrees worth of steam in it. You know, it's it's already naturally releasing. I can't say that fast. Natural releasing, and then it also is going into that keep warm mode. Okay, so that's nice too. Like if you're having a party and you make a dip or something in it. Like I have a really good, another one we have is a spinach and artichoke dip that's really good in here. But then like if you're having a party, it's going to stay warm too. And a lot of our tools were designed with a little bit longer handles for those pots and stuff too, to be able to like easily scoop out of the pots. We also have, I didn't bring that one out, but we also have the egg bites insert. So a lot of people are like, love those sous vide egg bites that Starbucks has. But you can make them at home for so much cheaper. And actually, I think when you make them at home, they taste better too. So you can make 6 at a time out of those in that little egg bites silicone mold. The nice thing though is too, is if you don't want to pressure cook the egg bites or do the sous vide, you can, that silicone mold for the egg bites will go in the microwave or the oven as well. So silicone's heat safe up to, I think you can put them, I think it was 450 degrees that you can put the egg bites mold in the oven for too. Cause I had somebody just ask me that in a party this week, if you could do that. And I was like, I knew you could, but I didn't know how high of a temperature, and it was 450. So what else, guys? I know you didn't come. I'm sure some of you guys had some questions. Stacy, did you have any other questions? Cause I know you haven't had yours that long. You've probably had yours for what, like 6 months now, Stacy Zwettler?
Yeah, probably about that long.
Yeah.
No, my main thing was that keep warm setting.
Yeah, just don't hit. So there's an X button down here. That's to stop. You're done. And then the release valve. And as soon as we get 7 more minutes, you got to find out some questions for 7 more minutes, guys. I was going to try to keep it to an hour, but I talk much, but we'll be almost done here. But I'll show you how the steam release valve works.
I wanted to give a quick praise to Pampered Chef because the locations of those buttons are so much safer feeling than other options on the market. The quick cooker is still a nice option. It's up in the handle to kind of push down and it releases, but the steam valve is up in the corner. So you're still several inches between the two pieces. I like how this one's even on the front. You're nowhere near the steam as it comes out. The Instant Pot, you like turn where the steam comes out with your finger. And I mean, the steam is right there and it's terrifying. So that's one of the main reasons I've stopped using that altogether, really.
I just did a cooking show last Wednesday night and we used the pressure cooker, and that's what a couple of the girls that were at the party, they're like, I feel like I'm going to take my life releasing the steam. So they loved the steam release button on here. And that was what I was talking about, is we really we're not late to the game. We're just trying to make it the best out there. You know, we want to make sure that everything is great for our customers. And I think it stinks that we had to, you know, make a quick cooker and a couple years later come out with this one. However, I do like the enhancements that they made on this one. But yeah, so that one you would release the steam up here, but your hand was still never anywhere near the pressure release valve. But this one, the steam release valve is down here. But what she's talking about is on Instapots, they have like a little tab that sticks out on that pressure release valve, and you have to like turn it. So I would hear stories at my parties through the years where they're like, yeah, I take a pair of tongs and then I throw a towel over it and then I push it and I run. And I'm like, no, that's not kind of how the appliance would, I would not want that in my house if I felt like that. But like seriously, or I take a spoon and I'm doing that. So thank you, Kate, for saying that, because that one is, I think that is a great feature too. And then a lot of them too are like they're steel. So it could get, I mean, like this one's a little bit warm, but I mean, it's like lukewarm, you know, on the side here. So, I mean, you can still tell that the pot, you know, warmed up in here, but it's not like I can keep my hands right on here. I'm not burning myself or anything. It just actually kind of feels warm. If you were at the ice arena sitting, you could put your hands on it and you'd feel warm. So, that was a great feature too. The other thing that they added this time around, I forgot to mention earlier, is there is now a tab that is on the back of the lid, and then they have an insert. I'll show you when I take it out. You can prop the lid up, where the old one, there wasn't a spot to prop the lid. So that was requested. The other thing you need to be careful of when you release it, there's always going to be condensation in the lid. So you always kind of want to like lift the lid and kind of let it just drip for a second over the pot. It's okay. It's just, you know, it just drip it into the pot and then you're not dripping it across your hand or something. You know what I mean? Just be careful that way. So, that's probably the only thing that I've had to like remember, like, oh yeah, don't like, just let it drip for a second. Cause that's obviously 250 degrees. So it's very, very hot. Anything else, guys? We got 4 minutes. Come on, you guys didn't get on here to not have other questions. Nancy, why haven't you, like bit the bullet and gotten one yet? Was there something that you had a question about since you don't have one at all? Nope. Okay, let me just look through the book here. See, oh, you know what? I can talk about while we're waiting.
Oh, I have
go
a
ahead.
question.
Yes.
Of all the accessories that you can purchase for this, what would you recommend starting with? Baskets.
Steamer baskets for sure. Then probably the next one. Oh, I do love the glass lid. So there's a glass lid that you can get. So after, like, say you're having a party and you have a dip in here, instead of putting this thing back on it or just leaving it open, there's a glass lid. And the glass lid is also great for the slow cooker function. The glass lid is kind of cool too, because it's got an opening where you can put our digital thermometer down through it, because it's got like you can put the probe in. So that's kind of cool too. So probably I like the glass lid. So that accessory, probably the steamer baskets next. And probably after that, maybe the ceramic pot would be next. But I kind of like my egg bites mold too, but I like that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So the springform pan is on sale. There is 25% off of all the multi-cooker accessories. So it's $17 for the springform pan. The ceramic pot one is $30. The steamer baskets, and it does come with both sizes, are $16.50. The fluted cake pan is $16.50. The glass lid is $18.50. The sous vide accessory set, which is the bags, the silicone bags to cook in, and it's got the egg bites mold too. And then the egg bites mold, that the accessory set is $37 and the silicone egg bites mold is $22.50. Then the pressure cooker itself, the multi-cooker itself this month is $199. So it's $100 off. So if anybody decides to book a party from attending this workshop and you want this, we have to have your party and it does have to close by, let me see here. I think it has to close by the 31st. So we'd have to close it by the 31st. So it might be a little bit of a shorter party than I would normally run, but that's okay. The other thing is you can always text out links, but I'm going to give anybody that books a party, it's on sale for $199. I'm going to give you an additional $25 off of the pressure cooker if you book a party. And if you book a February party where it's not on quite as big of a sale, I will still give you a $25 off of it. Okay. So that is, I mean, that's such a good price for it to be $100 off this month. I love it when they do stuff like that. All right. So it ended. Did you hear it beep? I don't know if you could hear it. So it says end. And I'm going to go ahead and release the pressure now. So I'm going to just scoot it a little bit over and I'm going to press the steam valve. It might go. Sometimes I feel like I don't do this right. There we go. I'm always waiting for the ding.
There it
You
goes.
can kind of see, I don't know if you could see that, but it kind of like tipped the valve
Mhm.
dip and it goes to the side. So you know that it's going to go that way. So you can always make sure that the pressure is going away from you. So it's not really, you know, if you can put it on your counter a certain way, you don't ever have to worry about somebody getting hurt by the steam. That wasn't a ton of water in there, so it's not going to take that long for it to completely release. I'm actually going to grab a bowl here and put some ice cubes in it because I'll peel it for you quick too. I'll peel one anyway. So I'll get one cooled off a little bit. Okay. Okay, I just put some ice in a bowl here. All right, once the red pressure button goes back down, then you can open the lid, because remember I said before, when the red button's up, it's locked. You won't be able to get the lid off. So that's another safety feature. Okay, then I'm going to lift and I'm going to let the condensation, did you see that a little bit? And then see this? That's the little tab that you can insert, and they have one on each side, just so depending on where you have it, you know, like I couldn't put it over here right now because it wouldn't fit. So they put one of those inserts on each side. Then I'm just going to grab, actually, I'm going to grab just an egg out and get it in the water quick. Ooh, that one kind of went wonky. So I'm going to put two in here. That one, I wonder if it had a crack in it to begin with. So then I can just easily pull my steamer basket out. It's super fast and simple. I'm just going to go set this in the sink. So then it just has a little bit of water in the bottom. I like to use my Dawn Power Wash when it's just something simple like that, just to wash it up quick. And then if it gets, like, say you seared something and it's kind of icky on the bottom of the stainless steel pot, I like to use Barkeeper's Friend. Have you guys heard of that before? It's also great in our stainless steel and actually any of our cookware. And I personally like the powdered version. So it looks like this. It should be in most cleaning aisles.
Okay.
I like it on the rock crack. It works well also if you get stuff on the rock crack. Okay. So see if this is cooled off enough for me to touch it. And then I'll peel it quick so you can see how fast and easy it peels. Here, let me move this out of the way. And I can try to see if I can turn my screen there. Okay. Usually they peel super easy. I mean, look at that. Done. that's the one thing I love about it. And then I'll cut it in half for you. I will say, I do like to use my cup slicer to do hard-boiled eggs. I use that almost every morning when I'm doing Daryl's eggs for a salad. So I just cut through and look at that. Perfect hard-boiled eggs in 12 minutes. Okay. So that's that. Okay. Before I get you off here, does anybody else have any questions? I made some notes, started typing them up, but I wanted to attach some recipes for you guys too. So as soon as I get that done in the next day or two, I will send that out to you, and I'm going to attach it into the event as well. And I'll put the replay in there as well too. It was just the pressure cooker, Q. And she's like, what's that smell? She's so weird. I'll attach a couple of things, and then I'll make sure to get you the copy of it so you have the information. And like I said, let me know if you think you might want to host to still get that this month. I will give you an additional $25 off. Or if you do a February party too, I will honor the 25. It won't be on the $100 off, but I'll still at least give you 25 off of it. And the thing is too, is that with host rewards, you might be able to get it for free, depending on how much you earn in your host rewards, or you can at least use it as a 50% off item. So then I could give you another 25% off of that. So just let me know if you think you might be interested in that. Anybody else? Okay, there was another one in the chat here. Yes, the glass lid, ironically, the glass lid does fit on the rock crock. So if something happened to your glass lid for the rock crock, they are kind of expensive. Look at that stupid thing. They are kind of expensive to replace. So that would work in its place too. So I do like the glass lid though. It is really nice. So thank you, Becky, for saying that. I did not know that. So I'm glad you told me that a little while ago. I thought that was kind of a cool tip. So anybody else? No? Okay, I'll let you guys go then. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I hope that was helpful. And feel free anytime. I mean, I truly consider myself your guys' customer service representative. You're not bugging me if you send me a message and ask me a question. That's what I'm here for. That's one of the things about buying appliances like this. If you buy an Instapot at Target, you don't have anybody you can call and talk to. I'm here for that. And so I can walk you through things, and we can, I can help you. That's what's the great thing about having a consultant to help you with things. Okay. So don't ever feel like you're bugging me. That's what I'm here for. Okay. All right. Well, you guys have a great night. I guess we're going to enjoy the heat wave while we have it for a little while here in Wisconsin, because we were freezing last week. So good night, everybody. Thank you so much. Bye.